CFL Combine one-on-one interview with University of Regina Rams defensive lineman Anthony Bennett. Anthony, depending on where you look, some people say you were born in Florida. Some people say you were born in Regina. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Where are you from? And do you consider yourself more Saskatchewanian or more Floridian?
So bottom line, I would consider myself more Floridian just because I grown up my first, I'd say 20-something years there. But I would consider it also a dead split because I spent summers and holidays in Regina, whether people like it or not. So that's the best part about it. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the atmosphere. I enjoyed the aspect, and it seemed to me it was a good time. And I'm glad I made the transfer over to the U of R, and it's been a hit ever since.
We'll talk about your time in the NCAA in a moment, but you were born in Florida, is that correct?
Correct.
So you qualified for Canadian citizenship through your mom?
Correct. So, yeah, with that being said, my mom is born and raised a Canadian. She moved when she was about 28 to 30 plus on the leap of faith and followed my father. My father had me in Florida, but doesn't strip her of her Canadian citizenship. It doesn't strip me of me being born from my mother. So with that being said, I'm a dual citizen.
You have unbelievable football bloodlines. Your father played in the NFL. Your uncle played in the NFL. Your cousin Michael, Pro Bowl running back with the Minnesota Vikings. And your older brother played for the Montreal Alouettes, Andrew. So does that count at all? Like you're coming into this draft process, I'm sure teams always love seeing those bloodlines. Do you feel like that's an advantage for you?
It might be, but the way I look at it is I always had a chip on my shoulder and I always wanted to bite it off, you know? And with that being said, no, honestly, I always wanted to prove myself, and this is a perfect opportunity and chance to, even though this season was once again the same thing. I love to compete. I love to get after it. These are the 100 best people in the nation, but it's also in the world that you're going to see compete and get after it.
You spent 5 years at Florida Atlantic. Tell us about your tenure with the Owls, because you were there for, again, 5 years on campus.
Sweet 16, by the way. Overall, man, I enjoyed every aspect of it. If it wasn't for the new head coach coming in after Lane, I probably would have still been there, but that's okay. With that being said, I was going to ultimately go on with my career in life, and the Rams gave me a call, said, hey, I know COVID's going on, but hear me out. You could have 1 year in the NCAA or you could have 2 years in the CIS. So I was like, yeah, CIS, why not? Like, let's see what that's all about, you know?
We're talking about legendary college coach Lane Kiffin, of course. What was it with the coaching change that made you not want to stay with the Owls?
It wasn't Lane. Lane left. He went to Ole Miss. It was COVID, and I wanted to stay, and he said, I'm going to recruit some other guys, so I had no problem with it. It sounded like I wasn't open with welcome arms, you know? It was one of those, that's okay. I don't know what he's seen wrong in me, but I'm not going to digress. I got better as a man, and I realized, like, hey, home isn't, like, I'm not home for everybody, but I most certainly turned some eyes, and I know my talent and my true capability, so I went elsewhere, and quite frankly, I was really close to just hanging them up, just being done. But I love this game so much. I love the game of football, without a doubt. Everybody that sees me compete in any level, at any sport really, but mainly football, they'll see me and they'll be like, no, I want this guy on my team. So and people say, oh, what's your biggest attribute? No, I believe that 1,000%. Whether I'm coaching, whether I'm playing, I will find us a way to win. I don't know if I got a horseshoe up my butt, but I'll find you a way to win.
You talked about maybe feeling a little rejected towards the end of your career at FAU. Did that provide some extra motivation for you with the Rams?
Yes, to a certain extent. I don't like it when people doubt me. And that's part of the reason why I try to push away the media. They're all for it. They're all up when you're up, But the minute you go down, you watch how fast they'll go down on you. So,
when you talk about your tenure at the Rams, I mean, you got your feet wet in 2021 during this shortened season. I was at that first game of the regular season in 2022. 3 sacks, game record against the Manitoba Bisons. You finished the year All-Canadian, Canada West All-Star. I mean, the accolades are piling up. This is a really good group of defensive linemen you have here at the Combine. How do you feel you rank among them?
I mean, I'll tell you what, all of us are willing to compete. You're going to find a couple diamonds out there. It's which one you find right and which one you're going to find that's real. And you've got to be the test of that. You got to be the ultimate diamond tester when you're head coach here at the at the CFL. So with that being said, I just love their factors. They all play in. They look at game speed. They look at game reps. They look at game. They're going to watch us test, but I feel like they're going to know when it's time. No, that guy is kind of good, but no, we need that guy.
You're 26 years old. Like, you talked about how close you were to hanging them up right after your tenure at FAU. Do you feel like that age is an advantage or a disadvantage through this process?
It's certainly an advantage because once again, everybody's coming in here nervous, and then coaches don't want to see that. As much as they do, they don't want to see that. Coaches are going to know right off the rip, no, this guy's going to come and play and dominate this league. That's what I'm coming, and that's what I'm telling you. And this is where I know I'm going to play that factor, and this is where I know they're going to say, no, this guy's got butterflies, or he didn't test well. Well, this guy didn't test well, but he will win. And that's what I provide. I know that for a fact.
How do you feel about the testing tomorrow? Do you think you're going to test well?
I mean, I think I'm going to perform as much as I can, and I'm not going to let that hold me down at all.
Do you think testing's overrated sometimes? Like, we just got to focus more on football?
1,000%. I think the measurables always are overrated. Like, look at me. I'm technically a 6'3" end, nothing too fancy. Everybody will just look at me. No, he's got the motor, he's got the juice, but no, maybe if he was a little bit taller or whatnot. No. You don't see me on the field. When does height matter on the field? When does weight matter on the field? No, look at how he can run from sideline to sideline. Look at how he can play. It's weird. It's not clocked at a 4.3, but it's a 4.3 on the field. So with that being said, I think I truly have those attributes. Like, it's crazy. And I truly believe, like, that's a stat where great coaches can sort through and they'll figure out. So it will help some of these guys that never put this stuff on tape. But with guys that have a nice little resume already, this is just, hey, I never got a chance to see it live action. I've seen it on a film, so let's just, make sure this is real. And if it's somewhat, they'll be like, hey, no, that's the guy. No, he slipped and he still looked good,
Absolutely. You mentioned your roots in Regina. The Riders have the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Would it mean anything extra to you to be taken by that team?
With that being said, obviously it's the Regina Rams, and I love them to death, and that would be an awesome program. Maybe for SAS to do that, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. But I'm here for all 9 teams in the CFL. Like, there's no favorites. Everybody's got a chance to pick me, whether it's 1 through 9. It's there. It's their option. And I believe, once again, I truly am invested in myself. I love it. I love the game of football. They're going to see me after it. They're going to see me this weekend. And once again, on and off the field, everyone usually enjoys what I do.
We at 3 Down Nation got our popcorn ready. Thanks for this, Anthony. We're excited to see what you're able to do.
Thank you so
Best
much.
of luck.
Appreciate that.